Okay, we're here. It's officially Friday, and in 5 hours for a lot of folks in the area and across the nation, it will be unofficially the weekend. Officially, those folks will be out of the office at a meeting, and we'll get back to y'all on Monday. But as important as it is that it's Friday, in 12 hours from right now, the Jacksonville High Cardinals will be on the field, and if they have their way, they will have just kicked off as the game with Topsail is getting underway. Thank goodness it's Friday, y'all. I'm Rayford Brown.
I'm Chris Marks.
I'm Lee Barrows.
Yeah, the Cardinals, that's one of the things that I noticed about the Cards when first started going to the ball games again a few years ago.
Right.
They have a strategy. If they win the toss, they kick off.
Yep.
If they lose the toss, the other people generally kick off. So they're generally, the other people are generally receiving, so Cardinals kick off. So the Cardinals do a lot of kicking at the beginning of the games.
They want the ball to open the second half.
Yeah, that's right.
And pour it on.
They're just getting warmed up in the first half is the thing it is. And regardless of the situation at the bottom of the first half, even if they got fourth and 200 yards to go,
Yeah.
for whatever, they can keep it and run it or do whatever because, they're going to get it.
I got to tell you, one of the best is, and you're already in the stadium. I remember last year when I was out there with Reach Across America, is watching them march in.
Oh, yeah.
Their faces. I wouldn't want to be there. Let these watch them come in.
Don't be in their way.
Yeah, they're like, okay, here we come. Move.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like those royal guards at the palace. Move! Or I'll walk over you. Anyway, other high school teams across the country, indeed throughout the entire South, will be duking it out. Part of the Friday night football tradition. Wherever you are, even if your high school is thousands of miles from where you are right now, pick a team, pick a local team, and spend a few hours in the bleachers cheering them on every Friday night. A couple of weeks back, even before we made it to our seats, we had already met several brand new people, friends. They became very quickly. Lee was walking from the parking lot all the way in with a brand new friend that we developed very quickly.
She works at the airport.
And she works at the airport.
And she works for cool. Delta. And hey,
yeah,
nice.
Jacksonville students from years ago, we met some of those. One had the week before had given birth.
Oh,
yes.
7 days before the game 2 weeks ago, she had delivered a baby, and she was in the stands.
Yeah.
Yes.
She said her husband dragged her here, but they were both Cardinals, so that's the way it is. It's great Friday night entertainment, and you can catch up with the news and TV programming later on because it's still going to be there.
Yeah.
And good morning to Miss Ann that we met there last year.
Yeah.
And she's like mama to the Cardinal football players.
Right. She has adopted the whole team, or the whole team has adopted her, one or the other.
There's only one person I feel bad for that goes to the Cardinal games. And she sits with us.
My wife.
No, not Miss Bobby. She's down to my left.
Oh,
you feel bad for me?
Because as the second half is beginning, Roman Reigns is making his way to the ring.
Let me tell you about On Demand.
Don't replay.
Okay.
On Demand. Did you see AJ Lee's back?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Her and CM Punk. Wait for never mind. He's going Punk.
I cried when she came back out last week. I was like, she's back. It's just
cried
like,
because she came back.
It brought tears to my eyes. It's a long story.
It's like who shot JR?
Yeah, and Bobby comes walking out of the shower, after he was dead. But
were you in the shower with Bobby?
No.
After he got shot?
No,
but
Bobby got shot and was killed. But yet his wife woke up, months later, out of her dream, and he comes walking out of the shower. It's TV. It's entertainment, whether you like it or not, whether you're entertained or not.
Do you realize that 47.23% of our audience has absolutely no idea who
Yes,
Bobby
they do. There's a lot of
JR was.
WWE fans out
I
there.
said Bobby or
Probably
JR.
JR.
And yeah, Joy knows.
Well, she's the other
Jennifer
52.86%.
knows. They all know.
I didn't mean
By
I'm
the-
sorry to bring it
And
up.
by the way, 100% of all the stats that we repeat on the radio and also across the nation are made up on the spot.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris, as a kid growing up, every night when it was time for Dallas, wasn't the whole family sitting in front of the TV?
Yeah.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
No, I watched some of them, but I certainly did not become addicted to it, so I had to look at it week after week after week.
Just so you know,
Thank
it is
God.
2:11 p.m. in Greece right now. For those interested,
Today or yesterday?
right now, I'm watching my granddaughter. She's due to land there in about 12 minutes.
Okay, so we're going to do a countdown here.
I'll tell you what, the parents are sleeping. Grandma's been on this thing all night long, watching her
She's gone
from
to Greece.
DC to London, London to Greece.
So what time did she leave yesterday?
She left yesterday. She left from Charlotte at 3 p.m. yesterday.
Okay, so she's going to arrive at 8 a.m. or 7:30 a.m. today.
Yes.
That's not a bad flight.
No.
Especially
No,
with
she
change.
had her layovers weren't more than an hour and a half. So when she got to DC was an hour and a half. She got to London, it was like an hour and a half. But I'm gonna tell you what,
It's time for breakfast and lunch.
talk about freaking out.
Go did.
I watched her plane go from DC to London last night in the wee hours. 698 miles per hour.
Yeah.
If I was on that plane and knew we were going that fast, they just have to call in somebody to cart my
They
body
got
off
they
the
got
plane.
the screens up there on a lot of the flights.
Yeah.
Most of the flights these days that you can track where you are and the speed that you're going.
30,000 feet altitude and 698 miles an hour. I'm like, Lord. And then I watched a spacecraft last night, the space rocket take off on
It was
Starlink.
going faster.
And it was on the East Coast and it was heading towards Indonesia. And I'm like, please don't cross lines. Please don't cross lines.
It's a little higher than 30,000 feet.
I know, but it still scares you. You know, you got all these thoughts that nervous grandmother. I'm good.
Still would like to be on one of those.
She's
SpaceX.
gonna text
Who?
me when she lands.
On the SpaceX.
You would?
I would love it. Love it.
No, you want the blue.
I do want. I
Jeff.
do want. I do want the Hurricane hunters, but the all-female team.
No.
I
Yesterday,
don't know. You will regret that after that constant 8 minutes of screaming.
God. Yesterday was a double-barrel somber event for us, a pair of them, and I'm sure most of America felt the same way.
Yes.
I checked into 3 different amateur radio networks yesterday and last night, and it was pretty much the same story across the board. And generally, hams, they talk a lot. They don't talk a whole lot about tragic current events that much. And some of those hams were fairly vocal about the actions that they would be taking. So it was unusual, very unusual.
Yeah.
And therefore, I will tell you that the Wednesday's event should not be considered a political event.
I agree with you 100%.
It was not a political assassination, in my opinion. It wasn't then until somebody can prove otherwise. Politically motivated, I don't know. I think mentally motivated it was. Something set the guy off, or the almighty dollar was involved. But if somebody paid him to do it, they did not pick a professional.
I know.
I will tell you that right now.
My opinion, from what I've seen in her, I feel like he was a lone wolf. Has some issues.
Well, he has issues, and he's going to have some more too.
Yeah.
I hope
But
he's
look,
got. Well, he should have kept his gun because
He-
he's probably going to need to.
he
off
might as well
himself.
turn himself in because it's just a matter
Oh,
of
it is.
He's one and done.
minutes before he's locked up.
They've recovered the whole. Where are you going to go these days that you're not going to find yourself on TV
Seriously?
on camera somewhere? Where are you going to go?
Church.
You got cameras in the parking lot.
Well, no, we do live stream it, but I mean, yeah.
You got lives. You got
Yeah, we do
there are
live stream.
cameras, and then there are people with these things.
I know.
These things called cell phones. And y'all, did you know that some of these things got telephones in them? I mean, got cameras in them.
Yeah.
They can actually. You can actually put these on the air live from wherever
As
you
witnessed by the gruesome videos that were all over the internet the other day.
Yeah, and people exercise a little bit of constraint.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get back to that the other point in a minute. But we exercise a little constraint when you pull up to a wreck. Please, if you're the first person there, don't grab your camera and start shooting video.
No.
Get out and find out if there's anything you can do, because sometimes seconds will count.
Exactly.
And the first thing you should be doing as you're approaching, as you jump out of your car, is hitting those 3 little numbers, and then hit the enter button or go or whatever yours has got.
Right.
911, and then get on over there and describe everything that you're seeing in a calm, cool, and collected manner as best you can. And you're looking for people.
Yeah.
And how they're doing. And you need to get that information to the 911 dispatcher, who will start walking you through stuff, but screaming and hollering, "Oh my God, this is awful." No, we don't care. It's all awful. You can scream later, but not to the dispatcher. Get that information to the dispatcher. Calm, cool, and collected as you can be. Yes, you will be excited. Cops get excited. Everybody gets excited. But you still got information you got to get out. And then render any kind of assistance that you can, that you're comfortable with doing. And if you don't know CPR and CPR is required, there's a dispatcher on that end that will walk you through it.
And now, with this new video call that you can do to 911, I mean, you can actually go live and show them.
In our system, you can. I don't know how widespread it is across the country.
Yes, but I mean, things are advancing to the point now. Do you know, sitting at the intersection of 17 Western Boulevard, the huge intersection right there, there's cameras watching you.
Oh, yeah.
You can be seen.
Yes, I know.
Quit texting.
Don't pick your nose.
Pick your
And
nose. Don't be snorting anything.
Well, you can if you want to.
Yeah, but these cameras,
that will be used against you later.
They don't go deep down into your car. They just show the intersection, which
I don't know what cameras you haven't been exposed to yet.
I watched it on screen when I was in the 911 center.
But there are some cameras out there that will go deep down into your car, because there have been some very embarrassing situations to occur.
Oh, yeah. Ask a truck driver.
Oh, that too.
They have stories.
Okay, let's get back to this.
Yes.
Yesterday, it was the 24th anniversary of an invasion with a war perpetrated by radical religious zealots. Okay. I don't know how religious they are, but when they cross over into that zealot category, I think they lost their religion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know of any religion that does that. Leaving more than 3,000 people of all races from all parts of this world dead in a matter of a couple hours. The lucky ones perished immediately. The rest of them had to know what was coming. And some of them, many of them, took the high dive instead of waiting for the fire to come to them. They couldn't wait. I've had so many people tell me that's one of the worst deaths that they can imagine. I haven't talked to anybody that's been through it. I watched one lady going through it, and she died while we were loading her into an ambulance. But I haven't. I just can't imagine sitting there and waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Can't imagine that. hard to believe for those of us who lived through 9/11 that it's been 24 years.
20.
I'm like many of you in this community. Put a different century. 24 years after Japan conducted a sneak attack on our military at Pearl Harbor on 7 December 1941. 24 years to the date after that, I was a high school senior as we were approaching Christmas time. As a high school senior, I was 17 years old at the time. Many parents and grandparents lived through that war, the one that followed the sneak attack, the one that became known as World War II, like many of you who have parents and grandparents that had a front row seat to 9/11. So many of the people out there today, 24 years later, let's just say that 5-6 years after that, they were born. After 9/11, they were born 6 years later. They would have been in the same shoes I was in after World War II. We were closer in time to World War II 24 years after World War II started than we are to 9/11. Imagine what we were doing, what you were doing 24 years after World War II started. My parents, my grandparents, they were always talking about it because of the war. It was close, but to eastern North Carolina, but most of it was underwater, sneaky little guys out there. Some came ashore in rubber boats, but they got caught. In fact, I listened to a judge one time, a Superior Court judge many, many years ago, talking about he was an FBI agent, and when he was at the, I forgot what building it was. It could have been the federal building in D.C. They hanged 3 spies that they caught during World War II.
Didn't know that.
That's the story that was going around. Thanks to a couple of our guests from yesterday who shared their lives that they had on 9/11 and the months and years that followed. Pete Benton, a now retired lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. I think his rank was lieutenant colonel, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And retired Marine Colonel Steve Taylor, a man I'm proud to call my brother-in-law. If you missed the show yesterday, it's still out there on Facebook and YouTube. And you might find it worthwhile to take a look-see, not because we're there, but because of the guests that we had. They're the important people. We're here to facilitate those kinds of folks showing up and sharing with you their stories, their lives, and what's going on out there. I even knowing Steve, like I know him for the last 40 years, or whatever it's been a long time, 40, 45 years, because he married my sister. I learned a few things about what he went through during some of that time. Most of the stories I've dragged out of him over the years. He's not one to sit there and brag about them. I think it was fun to ask him who was his most favorite, not president, but who was his most favorite person that he transported aboard Marine One. That was Lady Diana. Wow. So he remembered that. She was a very nice lady, he said, and he told me that a couple of times. So anyway, those folks take more than just the president and the VP around. There are other dignitaries from other countries that they transport from place A to place B. Okay, that said, we welcome your comments, your thoughts. We're going to get into the mess that transpired Wednesday afternoon, too, and which is still got the nation not on its knees, but still got a lot of people mad. And it's still, to me, for whatever reason, 9/11 United Americans, and this event from 2 days ago has continue to divide
Yeah.
Americans. That's why I say it should not be considered a political event, a political assassination, not at this point in time. I don't know how much politics had to do with it. I think we may be very surprised once hopefully, they get this guy in the box and start having chats with him.
Mm-hmm.
And you can rest assured they're not going to beat him. They're going to get information from him because he's going to be a learning experience.
Right.
They're going to need the information. That's why and people like Osama bin Laden, there was absolutely zero reason to keep that boy alive. You understand? He's not going to give up anything that we don't already have. This guy will give up more information if he's alive than Osama bin Laden would have ever considered giving up, or any of those terrorists down there in Gitmo that they've had. They're not going to give anything up. So therefore, my personal opinion, as a terrorist, as a thug, as a murderer of Americans, they just need to bye, see ya. But somebody like this, yeah, he needs to ultimately pay the price.
Yeah.
No doubt in my mind. But we need to extract every bit of information, and that includes brain surgery if necessary to get it.
I had yesterday a lot of meetings I had to go to yesterday. One was, I know it surprises you, but one was Crime Stoppers, and I had a chance to talk to a lot of the members and relayed the stories from your brother-in-law, from the lieutenant colonel, and again last night at some meetings relayed them, because I was taken back by the stories themselves.
Yeah.
And from the radio silence and Air Force One having to be refueled. And just those stories, the lieutenant colonel's stories of getting out of bed sick because of the call that he received. Then I found out some interesting things, like we have a friend, retired Lieutenant Colonel Donnie Worrell, who has a relative who works on Air Force One and is actually in charge of the president's itinerary on Air Force One. Currently.
Okay.
And we got into there was a discussion about the event, God rest his soul, Charlie Kirk. And I guess the bullets they found left in the chamber and the things that were written on it. That was said.
There's stuff out there that's floating
so
that
much,
I'm not. I have no firsthand knowledge from an official, anybody.
Yeah.
Not even my sources are giving it up yet. Officially.
You know, I saw the picture that they kept. Everyone's posted, so those all look the same. Someone's going to turn him in.
Oh yeah,
$100,000.
If I could find him.
Oh,
I will tell you
personally, I would capture him and hold him and back there in my pod until the reward went up a little higher.
I think he'd want to be in there with you.
I will tell you, besides the hate and discontent that's out there, and people getting fired from their jobs. Yeah, I love that.
Y'all are stupid.
Yeah, very stupid. But disinformation. Oh my
You're
Lord.
doing no one any favors.
I saw a post yesterday where someone said what happened was the bullet ricocheted off his vest. His protection. He was not wearing a vest.
No.
You people. Well, I'm not saying everyone. The ones creating all this disinformation.
First of all, anybody, a vest is a vest.
That's right.
That you would be wearing. It's not going to bounce a big caliber bullet like that. It's a 30 caliber bullet of some sort.
That's right.
It's not going to ricochet off of it, even at 200 yards. I did hear an experienced security guy last night. I've seen him before, but he's not a camera hog like so many of the quote unquote experts are. And he was talking to me. He said, people talk to me about being a long range, 200 yards. He said, that is not very far.
Right.
Not in the world of rifles. No. And like I said yesterday, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, these folks who hunt deer, using a good old 1800s style 30-30 rifle with iron sights, the lever action cowboy guns of yesteryear. That's basically what they are. But they're using one of those, even with a 30-30 caliber bullet, which is a great bullet, but it's still considered a fairly short range bullet. But they're shooting deer at 200 yards. Everybody who's ever picked up a box of 22 bullets years ago, I don't know whether they still put it on there. It says, careful, warning, or whatever, range 1 mile.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
I was trying not to sneeze.
But yeah,
Hurts.
range 1 mile. But obviously they're not effective at a mile away, but the potential of them hitting somebody, whatever, is there if you shoot it at the right angle, because a mile ain't that far.
We have law enforcement. I guarantee you 150, 200 yards with a pistol.
I've done it.
Yeah.
I hit a 5-gallon bucket at 175 yards.
Remember you telling me that?
Now, it was not with a service weapon.
Right.
I'm reasonably sure I could have come close after 10 rounds or so, but I may have hit it every time. I don't know. I've never fired that far with the sidearm that I carried. But with a 44 Magnum with a 6.5-inch barrel, yeah, I hit the bucket first round, first shot, bam.
Well, it was nice to hear that the vice president went to Utah.
Oh, I watched
with
that.
the family.
Did you see it on that Utah channel? Did you watch it on that?
No, I just heard that they did that, and he's going to receive the posthumous
Medal of Freedom.
Medal of Freedom.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's all well and good. And then I keep hearing people, he's a martyr. He's a martyr. No, he's not a martyr. He did not go up there and put himself in harm's way so he could be killed.
No.
Or not even so. Yes, there's always the chance, the risk of anybody being killed. I mean, somebody walks through that gate in here after they get through the alarms, there's that opportunity, right?
Then they have to face what we have.
Probably not the best choice. We are not a soft target here. Let's just put it that way. But not everybody can do that. There's not. Do you know a talk show that can protect themselves without having bodyguards around?
Not many.
Well,
I don't know of any. I don't know anybody that does that.
Talking about bodyguards, he had a couple bodyguards right up there with him.
Security people, yes.
And one in particular that I know that they've come out and identified, and they said that he's been with them at all his events. I know there was a lot of talk going around, which I don't know the validity to it, of two men behind him using hand signals, and one of them was his bodyguard. So there's a lot of stuff out there, a lot of stuff, and it's just
wait till they catch the guy and wait for them. Then go ahead. Networks, get ready to do the background checks as soon as you find out. And obviously, they've got social media up on every computer that they've got, and every reporter's got it waiting for a name, because that will be hit so fast. And as soon as that name is released, divulged, or whether it's released or not, as soon as it's divulged, oh my God, I hope it's not a John Smith guy. Jeez.
Well, going back to the guys giving sign-on, it could have been that they were doing that as security measures. They were signaling a security officer right there in front. Hey, he's getting ready to go do this or whatever. But the stuff going around has been very, very interesting about it. Very, I'm like, but I'm sure the FBI had already investigated everything right there. So
well, anyway, hopefully that they will lay the habeas corpus to this dude soon. I hope he's not dead. I hope nobody kills him. I hope he doesn't force anybody to kill him. But he's not worth the loss of any more life. I will tell you that.
I'm surprised he didn't twist his ankle, jump down from that roof.
Well, that's what the security guy said. If that was an intended planned move, which presumably it was, that was not the smartest thing to be doing. because the chances are, I would say 50-50 that you're going to injure your ankle.
Mhm.
So, did he go by there and check that out beforehand? Did he go by there in the middle of the night and take a leap to see how he could do it, or if he could do it, or what was this just how did he get up there?
Well, I think we're going to find out.
Yeah.
They're going to find video from
Oh,
past days.
they're
where
going to find something.
he's been out there surveying everything. So that's just like what happened in Pennsylvania with the shooter getting on the roof up there.
Yeah.
So
People saw him too, but nobody said anything. I would imagine that if anybody saw this dude yesterday or Wednesday, that they would have said something, given the stuff in Pennsylvania.
they did see there are some videos taken. People well, what's that guy on the roof doing? Now, whether or not they walked away right away and went to go tell somebody, but by then it could have been too late. Who knows? It's all going to come out. It's all going to come out.
It will come out. Yeah.
910-333-0139.
We want to hear from you today, right after the weather.
Yeah.
So get your telephones and your fingers ready to do the dialing, do the walking. You don't have to go to the yellow pages because we'll give you the number. Our yellow pages indicate our telephone number is 910-333-0139. And
Yeah, that's Steve. Steve, you want him to hang on a minute while we just throw the weather out there real quick?
Steve, hang in there for just a minute. We're going to do a quick weather forecast, so don't get too far from your radio. Looking at the marine forecast first offshore, the weather's prettier today, but it's still windy. Out to 20 nautical miles, high pressure is building back into our area. Offshore, small craft advisory is in effect through Saturday evening. Northeasterly winds 15 to 20 today, gusts to 25, seas 3 to 5, 2 to 3 near shore, sounds and rivers choppy tomorrow. Northeasterly winds 15 to 20, gusts to 25, 4 to 6 footers, 2 to 3 near shore, sounds and rivers again going to be choppy. Sunday, northeasterly winds 10 to 15, coming down just a bit. Gust up to 25 in the afternoon, 4 to 6 footers, 2 to 3 near shore, sounds and rivers a moderate chop.
Today, mostly sunny with a high near 83. Northeast winds 6 to 11 miles per hour with gusts as high as 17. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 60. Take a sweater with you to the football game tonight as those temperatures start to drop a little bit. Saturday, partly sunny with a high near 81. And Sunday, partly sunny with a high near 83.
Doing a quick round robin of the community here. Southeastern North Carolina, Onslow County primarily, a little bit of Carteret County in there. From the Onslow Amateur Radio Club, our group of weather spotters is growing. Randy in Southwest this morning checked in 63 degrees. Had a trace of rain. That was it. Nothing measurable. Joe over in the Borough had light wind at 65 degrees and he said 0.3 inches of rain. That's okay. I didn't know it rained there, but that's always a possibility. At Emerald Isle, where he was, winds were blowing 5 to about 7 or 8 miles an hour from the north, and 67 degrees at the Emerald Isle at the fishing pier. Lee, he hasn't caught any fish, but I heard him talking later on that some fish were biting and jumping down there. Lee over the other Lee at in the back swamp area. Light winds, 99% humidity, 62 degrees, no rain. Ken at Onslow Bay, 99% humidity, 64 degrees, no rain. Had a light morning. Craig in Richland, 64 degrees, no rain. Dale at River Bend, 63 degrees and no rain. And here at the studio, it was 60 degrees at the same time. No rain, 99% humidity. And right now it's still 60 degrees out here in the woods. And over there in the woodlands.
Over in the woodlands, I must have been in a sunspot because I had 68 degrees.
Yeah, you must have been.
I was in the sun.
You mentioned the football game, bring a sweater.
Yes.
I heard rumors that there'll be hot dogs, hot chocolate, hot pizza.
And?
Who you been talking to? What's your source?
And?
There'll be popcorn there one way or the other.
Who's your source? Keep me holding on here. What is this? Steve, I need some help.
I've got a big box of popcorn. Does that help?
Well, is that same box you bought last year at the movie and you didn't eat it?
No, it's the kind you pop at home, man. But it's the movie theater butter popcorn.
Oh, okay. That's
my favorite.
The good news for me is that my son-in-law gave my daughter one of those stand-up on wheels popcorn machines that, and she goes out there because she loves that stuff, and she puts it in the popper and it pops it just like they do at the theaters, and it comes out ready to rock and roll. So I've got an order in for that just in case.
I had one of those, and I liked it a lot. I didn't like cleaning it, so it somehow got lost.
What about you got to clean them?
I don't know. I've got one in my shop that's not even put together yet.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to clean them, but that's kind of what I do with all the food products that I use.
Oh. Well, that's why she's got it, and I know she can clean it and use it, and just bring me the product. That's all I care about. Oh, that didn't sound good.
Yeah.
Not that kind of product, y'all. I don't do that kind of product. No,
That just sucked in.
you can, but you're
Bring me
not
the
going to like the results.
Yeah.
What's on your mind, Steve?
I'll meet you in the parking lot. Bring me the product.
I was, like a lot of folks, this stuff with Charlie Kirk is still kind of, rattling around in my head. It's times like this that we need a leader to stand up and kind of cool tensions and, help try and unite us and make us realize that this was not the actions of a political party, regardless of what the political affiliations of the person who committed this crime.
That is a great quote that should be go up on every billboard out there.
Yep.
All right. The only problem is that the person we have in the White House right now immediately tried to use this as political propaganda. They cannot lay down their partisan flag for nothing. And that's a problem, guys. That's a real problem. And that's a bona fide gripe that people have against this person. They try and use everything as a political wedge, constantly trying to divide us. This is not a time for us to be divided. Nobody tried to blame the Republicans for I ain't gonna say nobody, but in general, people did not try and blame Republicans for the Democratic lawmaker and her husband who were assassinated in Minnesota just a few months ago. There's a very different approach to politics right now from a certain group of people than we've had in the past.
Well, I agree with you that the leader should really be stepping up to the plate, but we cannot forget a number of leaders at lower levels and talk about House of Representatives and the Senate who come out, who dust off the Pelosi types of individuals out there, the Schumers, the Shifties, all of those individuals who start screaming and hollering the minute there is a school shooting or anything like that. They dust off their anti-gun rhetoric and they put it out there. Here we go again, yada, yada, yada. We see that, and that all that does is stir the pot. The same as this is stirring the pot.
I'm not denying you that.
So it does happen.
It does happen, but it doesn't happen in this way. Yeah. And even if it has, does it not need to stop?
It does.
And
that's the key. It needs to stop.
Yeah. But here we are. We got people in conservative media that are saying this means war. And I would be able to stomach it a little bit better if we knew who this person was. If we knew who their affiliations were, I could understand it a little bit better. But they have no idea, and they're just using it as propaganda. That really disturbs me. I have seen things that are similar from other presidents. I can admit that. But not the same. It's not the same. It's more egregious. It's more aggressive, and it's almost with malice that they're trying to use these events. Even when they come out in the last 2 days, what I've heard, you hear them name, the guy in Pennsylvania. You hear about Charlie Kirk. You hear about Kavanaugh and the guy walking around his neighborhood with a rifle, but you don't hear about Pelosi's husband being attacked. You don't hear about the Democrats in Minnesota that were assassinated. They're not talking about the political violence committed against the left. They're not talking about the political violence that was committed on January 6th. All that is apprehensible. All that needs to be condemned, and no party is really responsible for that until they start excusing it. And I know both of them are guilty at on some level of that, but right now it seems like it's getting worse, and they ain't even trying to sugarcoat it anymore. This particular group,
Well,
I felt comments, and they were kind of awful, guys.
I felt exactly the same way the day that there was a shooting involving a New York police officer many years ago. There's a guy named Obama who was in office, and the first thing he did, he took to the airwaves and blamed the police officer and the police department because it was basically, in his mind, a racist action. Well, it turned out it wasn't. He was totally off base, and he never walked that one backwards. Hasn't to this day walked that back and said, I made a stupid mistake. No, he didn't. Trump's never going to walk this back. He's never going to say he made a mistake. People like that do not make mistakes in their own minds.
Well, and it's interesting you brought up former President Obama, because after this horrible act, he was quoted as saying, "We don't know what motivated the person who shot and killed Charlie Kirk was, but this kind of despicable violence has no place in our democracy." He's saying this now after being removed from office so many years.
Yep.
But to your point of with that New York police officer, so I think, Steve, when they're out of office, they can come back and be gentle to situations versus the moment that it happens.
Yeah, and I keep warning folks too. And you do not know, Mr. and Mrs. Conservative, ultra conservative, right wing, whatever degree of conservative that you are, you do not know that this was not a conservative that was simply sacrificing Charlie Kirk for what he considers the cause. You do know that things like that can happen, right? That would be really bad for the conservative element out there screaming and hollering these days, would it not? I'll look at all possibilities, as you should too.
And that's I'm at as well, Rayford. I mean, what you're talking about with Obama, I agree with that. That was wrong. That we shouldn't have that. But now it's somebody that, conservatives agree with is doing it. You should have, not you, but they should have the same criticism for that type of response, no matter who does it. And we don't have that. We have a very partisan response, depending on who's standing up there talking.
And I'm not good.
I guess I'm a little frustrated that people use stuff like this for political propaganda on either side.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the first time I've seen him come out trying to demonize the opposing political party in this way. Now, I'm not saying it ain't happening before, but it seems like we've gotten a little further up this hill than we've been before. That's what I'm seeing. That's my opinion. I could be wrong.
Okay.
I've never, and I guess it disturbs me a little bit. That the same person, the person that's beating his drum, is the same person who condoned political violence in their name. They, on January 6th, guys, I hate to relive this. There was one guy who was convicted on that day, got 20 years for assaulting a police officer. He got 10 years for beating the police officer down with a pipe. And then he got another 10 years because he stomped the officer's head into the concrete. Now, that person should still be in jail. Wouldn't y'all agree? It was caught on camera. Would y'all agree that person should still be in jail?
Okay. Anybody who doesn't know my opinion about once you're sentenced, you do the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I pretty much knew that. I was asking, it was almost a rhetorical question. Mm-hmm. Of course, we all agree that person should still be in jail. But, Trump pardoned that person blindly. And now he's up there beating this drum, wanting to say we need to, calling Democrats domestic terrorists. So I mean, yeah, I kind of got an issue with that, I guess, man. This guy is toxic.
Yeah.
He's toxic to our politics.
Did he
There's
say
people in the
that?
Republican politics.
Okay. Did he say the Democrats were
Domestic terrorists. He ain't said that in the last 2 days, but that is a comment he has made.
He has made a comment during this event that
No,
Democrats.
I'm not going to say that.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not going to say that. He has leaned heavily that way, but he's made that comment before, and that's the point I was trying to make. He didn't make. I don't know he's made it in the last 3 days.
In any connection with any event, did he make that comment, or was it just in general?
In general.
Okay.
And I mean, guys, y'all know as well as I do, it's nonstop. It's every time he gets a chance to try and demonize the half of the country, half of the U.S. citizens, he takes that opportunity. He is a divider, not a uniter.
Okay.
Well,
He unites the Republicans and the Republican base, but that's it.
would you agree
You don't
that?
hear about nothing else.
And I understand there's a difference of their positions, but would you agree that Chuck Schumer, Adam Schiff,
Jasmine Crockett.
Cory Booker, that they fall into that same
AOC.
category?
Yep.
All right.
I would go back and say that they have. It's similar. It's similar, but it's not the same. And if you could show me some or point me to some commentary from them that is the same level of rhetoric that Trump puts out, I'd be happy to see it. But I mean, in all honesty, guys, only Trump is Trump.
Well,
There's other people who are similar, but he's the only one that takes it to the level that it gets taken to.
I give you. I don't have any specifics, Steve, but every Saturday, Chuck Schumer's opening his mouth somewhere. Adam Schiff is on Meet the Press it seems like every third Sunday, spewing his stuff. I'm just saying, no, they are not the president, and I believe the president should stand to a higher degree, but those that are the leaders of the Democratic Party are doing the same thing. They're not uniting the country. And that's the problem. You know, when the story was being told about 9/11, I made a comment yesterday. What that event did was united our states of America. Everybody was united because we were attacked.
Even
I get that,
Hillary.
but there was a big difference between what George W. Bush, his comments after 9/11 versus the current president's comments after everything.
Well, they're absolutely two different individuals, right? Completely
Absolutely
different
two
people.
different levers, two different styles.
Yeah.
Completely different styles.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the point I'm making is this style is toxic to our politics. And I will say that the Adam Schiff style and Chuck Schumer style is also toxic to our politics. I won't disagree with that.
Yeah. I would say
I'm not
that
gonna say that I think it's okay that Trump does it because they do it. I think they all need to stop.
they all do need to stop. But there was a big difference in Barack Obama and Bill Clinton too. Bill Clinton was he was not as divisive as Barry Obama was. Do you agree?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
So I mean, even in the same party, same level, both of them were presidents. There's two different people. Bush was different than his daddy Bush.
I would agree, but during tragedy, they tend to have had a similar approach, which was the classic politician approach. I get that. This is not the classic politician approach, but it also feel like it's not the proper approach. Just because it's not the status quo, don't mean it's a good thing.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So let me ask you this: do you think that with any of these presidents, current or past, and they're making these comments, they have writers? All their stuff is pretty much written out, but then sometimes they do give their own personal. This is it immediately. This is like Rayford's comments. They're not handed to him on a piece of paper. They're his comments. But these presidents have media personnel writing all their stuff for them to say.
I would agree with that. Reagan was probably the one anomaly in that he wrote?
Well, he did, but he didn't. In the last second
They're
term.
ready to go.
Okay. I'll give you that was some medical issues that may have, his speechwriter may have came on board more in the end, but in the beginning, his speechwriter was just a placeholder.
Yep.
And then I will also admit that Trump is reading these statements. The last few days, the statements, like the one he did in the Oval Office, he was absolutely reading that statement.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe he wrote that statement. I'll give you that caveat on it. But that being said, we need somebody to turn the temperature down, and they're pouring gas on it. And they don't even know. That's why I say it's propaganda, because they have no idea of knowing who this person and what their motivations are at this point. And it's ridiculous for them to come out and try and attack a political party over this when they don't even know. Even if that person was affiliated with that party, that doesn't immediately translate that that's the party's agenda. Just like I say, we're not going to condemn all Republicans because of something one conservative done.
If he's a conservative,
yeah, he may be an independent.
might be me.
Just like, and I agree with that. And I mean, just like the person in Pennsylvania that took a shot at Trump, his political affiliations don't matter. He was insane. He was crazy. And the person who committed this act the other day.
I do believe there's a difference between being insane and having mental problems and being evil.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, there's insane that's benign, and then there's criminally insane. And mental problems. Yeah, I mean, I've got mental problems. I'll be the first one to admit it. But it's not to the point that I'm dangerous to myself or other people. Yeah. That's a different level of when we say insane. I guess I mean criminally insane.
Are you prevented?
And it's funny about evil because
are you prevented from owning a firearm?
Because of my
are you prevented from owning a firearm?
Technically, yeah, but not because of my mental stability.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you're not mentally nuts then, right?
No, okay. No. And I've been tested.
Yeah, the good thing is that most of us have not been tested in that regard, so therefore we've never been judged that way yet. All right, Steve, we got to go. Thank you.
Steve.
Have a blessed weekend, Steve.
Bye.
Take care, buddy.
I do want to say something and address what Steve's talking about. Mm-hmm. It's easy to say this person, but it's been both sides for a very long time. Yeah. Go back to 2010. I mean, all this, the division that was there. And I'm going to tell you, Wednesday afternoon, I watched live the House Republicans, the United States House. And they had just come back in and they were doing business. Mike Johnson. He asked for a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. And this was before Charlie Kirk had been pronounced unalived, is what they call it now. So they had a moment of silence. And then Lauren Boebert asked to speak. And she spoke from the back of the room. And she said, you know what? She said, asking for a moment of silence to say a silent prayer. Prayers cannot be heard if they're silent. I would like for someone to say a prayer out loud. Is there someone in the house that can do that? One side of the house, and I won't say it's the whole side, but it was a group of people that went absolutely nuts, started yelling and screaming, no, we're not doing a prayer. No, we're not doing this. See, so what I'm trying to say is there's division on both sides, has been for years. Go back and look at some of the stories that came out of 2010. We do have a president that's very vocal. He doesn't mince words. He's not one of those like, well, it wouldn't be proper to say this word. He's going to say it. Everybody's known it. He is what he is. Do I agree with a lot of it? No, but it is what it is. He's the president. We're going to have to just deal with that and go on, but because the president might say something that's not really PC, we shouldn't be using that as an excuse to deflect from what's going on now. Man lost his life. Man lost his life for what reason? So let's not deflect from that.
Hate.
Hate. There is real hate and evil out there. And I know we have a mental crisis in America, but I'm so tired of hearing everything is, because they have mental issues. No, there's some real hate in this country. There is some real evil.
There is.
Anyway, that's all I got to say. Good morning.
Come on, Mike.
Hey,
What you walked into?
What did you walk into?
He's still smiling.
I know.
Take
I
it.
just got the update here that we have a wave that has left the coast. Is saying, "Hello, y'all. I'm coming your way."
Oh my
Not
goodness.
our way necessarily, but anyway,
Oh.
another wave has left the coast of Africa. Yuck. And it is moving in predicted to move in generally a westward direction with a lean towards the northwest a bit. And this is one we're probably going to need to take a look at. It's got a 40% chance now. Yeah, 40% chance of becoming something over the next 7 days. Next week we will know more, and by the time it develops into anything, at least it will have some sort of a traceable, trackable direction of travel, because they can't do it right now. You can think the conditions. It's 3,000 miles away. Come on. How long did it take your granddaughter to get to where she is? About 3,000 miles?
18 hours.
And that was moving at 698 miles an hour. This thing's moving at 5 to 10 or something, 10 to 15 today. Anyway,
10 to 15,
we will hold off, and we'll keep our eye on
Are you
it. But
checking that, or are you checking their flight?
No, she's already landed.
Okay. Okay,
She landed in Greece.
we're good to go.
all the wheels intact.
Now we just need to get her from there to the housing area for the university. They're supposed to
she'll
have a
be
bus
okay.
come pick her
She'll
up.
be okay.
A bus.
Yes. From the university, yes.
A bus.
Come to pick up the students.
How about that? School buses for colleges.
The good thing is she's got a roommate, and the girl's from New Jersey. I said the South versus the North. This is going to be good.
There we go.
Here it goes.
Civil War in Greece. From America.
No, she'll teach her about Bojangles and Southern tea, and it'll be fine.
We're going to do some chair swapping around here.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
I was getting ready to. I was just like,
You couldn't keep your mouth shut, right?
no, I couldn't. I had to say what I had to say first. I didn't want to scare Mike too bad.
Have you finished?
Yes,
He doesn't look scared.
he's starting to learn me too well.
We're going to be talking with a gentleman who's he's been around for a couple of years and working for the public, working in the public arena for a half century.
Yep.
How many people that you know of who have dedicated their lives literally for 50 years, and sometimes in one of the most unappreciated professions in the world, except when you need them. and then it's like, well, where are they? Oh, thank God for the popo. And I say that with fond memories. Retired police chief, retired public safety director, active politician.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord. Mike Yanera, how you doing? Welcome back, Chief.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here, and it's always great to see you. It's always fun to have a reunion every time you come in here, because you were the first person that I interviewed once this show started. Long time ago.
How long has it been?
2011.
2011.
Yeah, it was 1 November 2011 when this
You were
thing-
over on Western Boulevard.
I was. They thrust me into the throes of. And I'm like, who said I was going to do this? I said I'd come along to help you get started, and no, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. We've already got a date, and this was like the middle of October. And he said, you start the 1st of November. And I said, what? Where? What? What am I supposed to do? I know.
As Mayor Slagle was with you then.
Yeah, she came. Well, she came in for one show because they had asked if I could perhaps get Jan, since I'd known her since she was before she was a Slagle. Matter of fact, she was married to a prison guard at one time, and she was a disc jockey at that time, country music station. That's how long I've known her. But they were asking, do you think maybe she would take this job? I said, oh, I'll ask her. And say, would they? She won't return our call. And I said, oh, so I'll talk to her. So I did, and she said no. So and she was out of the limelight. She said, wanted to stay that way, but that's fine. And it's a lot of work too. But she retired, and she's a nice lady. Always has been.
She is a very nice lady.
And, I was going to say she's too nice for politics, but then I have to transition to you. And your politics in Jacksonville, Onslow County, it's not the same as politics when you go to the west of 95. Let's just put it that way.
Or no, I think.
And then in a couple of other counties to the south, it's not like the politics there. You guys seem to get along. I mean, you guys, because you've been to all the council meetings at one time or another, many times. So you're part of the system as well. And since you were working for those guys as the chief for so long, how did you manage to put up with all of that?
Well, I think about that all the time, and I think about, you reflect back on your career. And I think the most important thing that I did as police chief was listen.
Thank God somebody does that.
Well, I tell this story. My wife doesn't like it, but I tell this story when I was first promoted to deputy chief in Bristol. She was downtown, and she had some homeless people that really scared her, demanded money and things like that, and so that was before cell phones. And so she came home and she called me, and I went down there, because I was going to confront these folks. Well, I didn't find them, but I started talking to the merchants. And one of the things that I learned from that experience was, as I started talking to the merchants looking for that particular individual, they started telling me about issues that they had downtown.
Really?
Yeah. And,
amazing.
I started listening to it. And from that, we developed a downtown patrol because, those merchants, 60% of our GDP is small businesses. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that we have to do is focus on making sure that those businesses are vibrant. And, we started that downtown patrol, and they cleaned up that area very, very quickly. And so I from that experience, I think, I took a lot of experience, a lot of that experience when I came here, and we've done a whole lot of different things to make sure that we're listening to folks. I mean, and that's the most important thing is because you don't know what you don't know.
Right. Well, from this, what you just told me, I think you're telling me that you have to credit your wife for being the man that you are, and for cleaning up Bristol, and for helping get things straight in Jacksonville. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
I got you out of the doghouse on that one, right?
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes I need that for me. But that's a great story. And listening, you know who Kelsey Grammer is, right?
Yes.
I know he was on Cheers, but then he had another show, which I like better than Cheers, Frasier. And I still watch it because I've got all of the episodes up there for access, and I started watching them from day one, and I've got a bunch of years still left to watch. Some of them I've forgotten. But that's a great show. And the one thing he says, Frasier, you have a call on line one. I'm listening. His open line.
Let me mention something because of my first introduction to Mike, and that Mike helped in Bristol, I believe Bristol, the Boys and Girls Club.
That's right.
And he was quick to join our board here in Onslow County for the Boys and Girls Club.
Get them while they're young.
I was president at that time, but you helped the youth in Bristol And what you just said about helping the merchants, you help the children. We're talking two different age groups here.
Oh yeah, and that's just as important as our merchants, because they're our future.
Right.
Mhm.
You know, and I've been working with the Boys and Girls Club now.
Mhm.
We're talking about actually opening a Boys and Girls Club down on Liberty,
Mhm.
and I mean that's important. It's why is just like one place is. All those are children, you know. So when we talk about what's important in the community, the merchants are important. The small businesses are important. We have to listen to what they have to say, but we also have to focus on making sure that our children have positive alternatives. If they had positive alternatives, they wouldn't be on the street corners. They wouldn't be fighting. They wouldn't be, you know. And we saw that with the Weed and Seed program. You know, we started with the Boys and Girls Club, one of those satellite offices. And we started with midnight basketball, and then it got into theater and it got into music. And, you know, the crime rate dropped dramatically in those neighborhoods because those kids were engaged.
Yeah.
And the Boys and Girls Club is an important part of that, as is the Y, as is One Place, as in is Big Brothers, Big Sisters. All those groups that focus on children are extremely important.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, you know, you're talking about the kids there after school during the summertime, in a lot of communities where I have been associated, you could tell when school was not in session. Why? Because when people came home, they called the police department and said someone has ransacked my house. Common occurrence.
It is.
In a lot of communities. I didn't hear as much about that when I returned to Jacksonville. So it just didn't seem like the biggest part of our criminal activity.
We still, I mean, there's still kids.
We're gonna have it.
Yeah, there's still kids out there that we need to touch, and we need to get them younger than you know. And I think, you know, the city has a number of programs, Boys and Girls Club, the Y. Once that new Y gets opened up, it's going to be, yeah, you know, and this golf tournament that they're doing in October is going to be, to me, is extremely important, because one of the things that they're focusing on is scholarships for kids that can't afford it.
Mhm.
And so providing that kind of assistance to parents, you know, because when we look at, you know, we did a study about homelessness in Jacksonville prior to me leaving the city, and one of the things we found is it takes about $60,000 for somebody, and that's just housing, food, car payment. You got to have $60,000. The average income in Jacksonville is $52,000 a year.
What in the world?
Shockwave.
And so how do we do that? And I think, you know, I think there's a couple things we do. Well, obviously, we want to focus on the kids, because we want to make sure that they have positive alternatives. Well, a single parent can't afford that if they're making $60,000. And so we have to look at economic development. We have to look at how we stimulate small businesses to grow. You know, because while they're important, large businesses are important. Small businesses is the backbone of our city.
Can I take a moment? And we have breaking news that the suspect in the alleged suspect that shot Charlie Kirk is now in custody.
Mm.
Oh, that's good. Oh, wait, Mike, will you take phone calls?
Sure.
Okay, 910-333-0139. 910-333-0139 if you have a call for council-elect. Am I saying that correctly? Am I saying that correctly?
I don't know.
I don't know what the correct
No,
term.
there's no primary.
Okay, what's the term?
Candidate. He's a candidate.
Candidate.
Yeah,
Okay.
for city
he's a
council.
candidate for city council. His seat is an at-large seat.
At large.
So
He's,
So if you have a question, call.
Mike Inera is our guest in here in case we didn't introduce him because we just kind of go into things as they come, whatever. Mike has been in law enforcement, public service, rescue, public safety for 50 years, a half century. He's retired now and he got bored. It took him about 2 weeks to get bored. There's not so much golf, so many fish out there.
yeah,
Right. And anyway, he started his head into the ring. He's watched city council in action, and there's an opening on city council, so he decided, because the gentleman's not running, and a good choice to make, and probably a very good candidate here as far as I'm concerned. Everything that I've known about you. One thing you did not mention about you non-law enforcement, but definitely related to law enforcement, because you have to put up with the kids sometimes. You got to put up with bad guys. You got to put up with the homeless. You got to put up with businesses. You got to put up with break-ins. But then there's that other thing that is in everybody's mind every day of the week these days. Every time there's a criminal act committed, it's done by a person who is mentally challenged. Now, you got involved in that about 10 years ago. We had a crisis here, shall we say, and a gentleman at the time, also a retired cop, a Fed, he decided he wanted to be a county commissioner, so he made it a platform. We need to do something, and then he started looking, and you jumped on board.
That one of the things I think one of my accomplishments, one of the most important accomplishments, was adding the crisis counselors to the police department, and there's 3 now. And they focus on these folks that are falling through the cracks, and it's just something we need to focus on. We need to be, when Ronald Reagan, God bless him, closed all those mental institutions, they simply put those folks out on the street, and in meetings that I've been in, our mental health provider said, the community needs to step up and take care of them. Well, there are some people the community can take care of, but there's some people that they can't. And so mental health is extremely, I'm sure, because those folks really have no voice. And we've got to think about how our system is working. I mean, when I was a young patrolman, we had an individual who was schizophrenic, and every year or so, what he would do is he'd get off his medication, and we'd take him to the mental hospital, and they'd take about a month, and then they'd get him back on his medication, and he'd be fine. He'd be fine for a year until he stopped taking his medication. Well, now it's 3 days. And you can't, there's not a lot you can do in that 3-day period. And so we got to get back to making sure that it's that we're funding that so that this small percentage of the population can get the treatment they need. And if you've ever tried to get mental health treatment, it's a jungle.
It's not only the treatment they need, it's the treatment that they get that we need.
Right.
The public at large. We can't just ignore this issue. It pops up. You do not know that whoever is going to come and you're going to deal with or whatever, whether they're having road rage, which is a mental illness as far as I'm concerned. You probably too. Somebody's having road rage out there. That's a challenge for the rest of us. They do a lot of damage. Somebody like whoever, the guy on the train, my God, in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Oh, for God's sakes. Some say he's schizophrenic. That doesn't mean that we just let him run loose.
Well, and that's part of the issue is that.
What do you do with him?
Can't
put him in jail.
Well, I know that Sheriff Thomas has a number of folks that are awaiting placement in a mental health facility.
Mhm.
I mean, jails and prisons are our biggest mental health facilities now because
And that should not be.
because
There's no treatment there.
well, they don't have the facilities, they don't have the personnel, and it's just not it's not the place they need to be. They don't need to be in the emergency room. They don't need to be in the, because the emergency room is our emergency room is great for if you're having a heart attack
Or a broken arm.
Yeah, but they don't have the capabilities to keep somebody for 30 days and get them back on their medication and get them back into treatment. And
I don't know that much about OMH, Onslow Memorial, but this is not Chicago Med, whatever that TV show is.
Yeah, Chicago Med.
They don't have a psychiatrist that can be called on an instant that's on staff. Hey, doc, come on down here. We've got somebody you need to help out.
we don't
have that.
And they don't have the place to put them.
What you gonna do with them if you find them having an issue?
Yeah. So I mean, the system is broken, and I think if we're really serious about fixing the system, and we need to be, we need to focus on how we're going to effectively treat these folks and make sure that they're getting the help they need.
How has, back to your law enforcement time and evolving into the world of politics here, how has the increase in the dangerous drugs like fentanyl, what kind of impact has that had on our mental issues?
But drugs are, because I don't understand. You and I might not understand why people take drugs.
We don't.
Because if I had my teeth out or if I had surgery, they gave me those drugs. None of them made me feel good.
No.
And
Worms crawling out of my head when I went to sleep was bad.
So I mean, I don't quite understand why they take drugs, but I do understand, and it's an escape. It's an escape from reality, and that's part of that mental illness. So the line between mental illness and drug addiction is very blurred, and so I think we've got to be able to, when we talk about mental illness, we're talking about drug addiction, and we're talking about how we get folks on the right path. And we go back to Boys and Girls Club or the Y or One Place or even the city's programs. I mean, we got to focus on our kids because that's where that if we can say mental illness, that's where it starts.
I've got as an old dude and with Medicare and also one of the what do they call that other plan that we get?
Medicare
Advantage.
supplement.
Advantage plans after,
Advantage.
which comes along as part of the deal. Oh, I got that. I get calls. I have no other ailments other than or issues that I have to deal with. I don't have diabetes. My cardiac stuff is supposedly under control. At least that's what my cardiologist said. I've got all of that. But they call me regularly. They want to come by. They offer to come by. It's part of the plan for them to come by if I choose to have them here, to just come in and talk to me about issues or if you're falling down a lot or whatever. And they can save the money for me as far as I'm concerned and just do some things for other people. Why don't we have that for the people that are out there who don't have any care, who don't have any mental health care? Geez, come on. Would that be a great plan to start? Not when they're 65, when they're 20, 15.
So one of the groups that I was on their board for a number of years was it's an organization that's called Fight Crime, Invest in Kids.
Mm-hmm.
And they talked a lot about and so we actually went to Raleigh and a number of years ago, and I was there with a retired Air Force general, and we went and lobbied for a program that provided nurses to go out and talk to work with families. And the program showed great success. The challenge that we had is getting it funded. And the reason that the Air Force,
$1
the reason that the Air Force General was with me is, I talked about the crime and the issues with kids. The reason that she was there was to talk about the readiness of our military and how that impacts the readiness of our military. And so, that's the kind of investments we need to be focused on.
I hadn't even thought about that, but just think today. Suppose we are attacked and we have to engage in a war. We are at war. This is 1941, and we have to start drafting people left and right. There's not enough screening you can do with a short amount of time that they went after draftees before to get these people screened, much less treated.
But it's an investment in our future.
Yes, it is.
And that's to incarcerate somebody for 10 years is almost $2.5 million. You don't think about that, but if you took that $2.3 million and kept that person out of jail by investing them as a kid, would it benefit us as a society? And it would be more cost effective. And I think I learned that when we had issues and problems in the community, if we invested before that, then I think we would save money. And Charlie Kirk's unfortunate situation is one of those things. We look on the news and the police chief there said, we didn't do our due diligence. And I'm not being critical. What I'm saying is that if you have an issue, you have 3,000 people there, then maybe you should have had more than 6 police officers. And maybe you should have looked at, hey, how do we get people in and out? And in my experience especially after 9/11 and working on the Bristol Raceway, we did all kinds of things.
Right.
Like we started searching people that came into the raceway. That raceway was 1 million square feet, and we had 10 bomb dogs that would come in prior to the event and sweep that. And once it was clean, it was clean. Nobody was allowed to come in unless they had been searched. No vehicle was coming in unless it had a bomb dog searching. And the reason that we focused on that was because, the prevention part of it makes it a whole lot easier on law enforcement, makes it a whole lot easier on, it may cost us a little bit more in the beginning, 10 bomb dogs to come in at 4:00 in the morning and sweep that entire facility. But it prevents somebody from doing something that we don't want them to do. And 2, it really is the right thing to do.
Steve.
Mike, let me ask you a question, Mike, because I was at another meeting Wednesday night and we were talking, we had somebody talking about the homeless situation, and because of funding being cut, there's parts of Jacksonville that are actually the center of the hub for homelessness. What is it that you think can be done to help alleviate that issue? Because a lot of them include children.
Yeah. When we talk about that $60,000, some of them just can't afford to live. So in my personal opinion, I think there's a couple things that we need to do. We need to focus on mental health and addiction. Those are a couple reasons that people are homeless. The other thing is we need to focus on how we economically develop our community and how we get high-paying jobs in here and how we encourage small businesses to thrive. What are the things that we need to do? When I drive by here, drive every day, go out and I see the Sears building or Red Lobster empty.
Yes.
And then I hear from people and they say, well, I want to open a brewery and I'm having a difficult time doing that. I think those are things that we need to focus on, because if we don't focus on those things, then how do we get these high paying jobs? How do we get folks from that homeless situation into being contributing members of our community?
Yeah.
And I think that it's possible. At least a portion of those folks are possible. At least a portion of those folks would need a helping hand to get out.
Yeah.
But how do we do that? I was in Wisconsin doing an assessment of a police department up there just 3 weeks ago, and they had a tiny home village that it was a transition, but in the middle of that tiny village, they had a community center. So if you were homeless, they would put you in there, but there were a number of services that were provided out of that main building.
It wasn't confinement.
No.
It was.
And so you had your little house, and you came over, and you had to, if you were addicted to drugs, you had to go to mental health. Mm-hmm. If you were looking for a job, then they would help you with resume building, and the goal was to step up from where they are now. And some of them were working, but in the evening they'd had those classes. They would develop their resumes. They would learn about financing. They would learn about healthy living, and it was in a group setting, but they had their individual homes where their kids were, and it was providing those kinds of things. Is that a possibility for Jacksonville? I think it is.
It's an opportunity that we could take.
Yeah.
We have a caller. So, Steve, you got a question for Mike and Arrow?
I did, actually. I'm sorry to call twice, but it's
okay.
Spawned me listening to him. I like the way you talk. You sound very reasonable and sensible. And what I'm kind of hearing is that, be it economic prosperity, homelessness, or mental health, it seems like the reoccurring theme here is a lack of resources.
He's shaking his head yes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously
okay.
it is.
I was going to ask if you would, and that's not the answer to all our problems, but that is definitely part of the equation, I would say.
But I also think part of it is partnerships. Is government should only do what a community can't, and we've got to invest in, and that's why I'm involved in the YMCA. That's why I'm involved in One Place. That's why I'm involved in the Boys and Girls Club, because those kinds of organizations become self-sustaining. And, then we go back and talk about the burden of the taxpayers. And we don't want to do that. What we want to do is we want to focus on our partnerships because every child that the Y provides services for is a child that the city or the county doesn't have to provide services for. And that in itself saves us money. And makes our community a better place to live.
But I'm still hearing that it's acquiring additional resources. You just want to find an alternative way other than raising taxes to accomplish that. And I agree with that. That's admirable. But to me, the cut and dry of it is that if you ask somebody to sweep out a warehouse, but you tell them you don't have enough money to buy brooms, it's going to be very hard for them to accomplish that task.
That's true.
And in North Carolina, we shut down Dorothea Dix Hospital. We didn't expand it. We didn't relocate it. We shut it down. I think that was the largest mental health facility in North Carolina. I may be mistaken about that. It was.
Well, I was at a meeting with opioids, and the Department of Health and Human Services secretary said it takes us 6 months to get somebody who's criminally insane in a facility. And so 6 months, somebody will be in jail, somebody will be in the hospital. There is no mental health facilities that can provide the services that our community needs. The system is broken. And
I would say oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And, I think about, our current health provider who's building playgrounds. Playgrounds are important, but they need to be investing in the community and making sure that we have adequate services, which we don't. We don't have adequate services.
Right. And that's what I'm kind of seeing even in Jacksonville. Bryn Mawr, it doesn't look like they've really expanded that. It looks like it's regressed from what it used to be. Just like what you were saying about the 30-day hold, now it's a 3-day hold. And putting these people in jail, there's no mental health staff there necessarily. They're going to have a date that those people get out, regardless of their mental status.
Yeah.
And they're going to release them right back out.
And I know Sheriff Thomas has worked hard to get a mental health services in there, and he's done some of that,
Right.
but not to the extent that say Bryn Mawr or Dorothy Dix did. Their focus
Right.
is, his focus is law enforcement and
Right.
And I applaud him for bringing, MAT and working on getting a mental health counselor in there and providing counseling services
Right.
for those individuals that are incarcerated.
And I was going to say, in no way am I trying to be disparaging against the sheriff's department. I think that they're asked to do a job that they don't have resources to do either. It's kind of just been dumped on them.
It's dumped on police, fire, EMS. All those,
Right.
all as a first responder,
Right.
I saw it as an EMS worker. I saw it as a firefighter. I saw it as a police officer. These folks are
Right.
just let into the community, and they need services, and they don't know how to get them.
All right. And, well, like I said, that was kind of the point I wanted to touch on, was that it seems like it's a resource problem, and we fight with this on every aspect. As our population grows, we all know the fire department has to expand. The police department needs to expand, and even those people fight tooth and nail to get those resources to be able to accomplish that. But at the same time, the schools have to grow. The mental health facilities have to grow. All that has to grow with the population, and we fail on that quite often.
All right.
But
Steve, thank you.
anyway,
Appreciate your
thank you for your
comments.
time.
Thanks,
I
Steve.
appreciate your commentary, and hope you do well in the election.
Well, thank you.
Don't talk about the election too much, but let's do this for just a second. You looked at a lot of reports as police chief. You worked the streets, and you provided a lot of reports as a law enforcement officer. Of the interdictions that you had, most of them would be criminal.
Mm-hmm.
As a cop, that's what cops do. They do criminal work. What percentage of those interdictions, shall we say, whether it ended up with an arrest or whatever, how many kind of wild guess of the percentage of the interdictions were mentally related?
Well, I think when you talk about that blurred line between addiction, drug addiction, and mental health, I would say 80 to 90% of them were, whether it was alcohol, in my day it was more alcohol, but now it's,
Everything.
it's synthetic drugs, and it's, which just
Probably
simply,
alcohol is taking a back seat to the really bad
it's,
people who move
and
on.
even to some extent, the THC, what they're doing with THC, they're
super stuff.
yeah,
It's called super.
they're making it very concentrated, and it's causing a number of issues.
And then they put it in those little cute little machines. Oh, it's just steam, called vaping.
Well, and the gummies, and it's concentrated THC, which is 10 times worse than marijuana was.
But it's not smoking. It's you don't go put all that stuff in your lungs when you do that.
Like
All the arguments.
for the city itself, because you're running for a position with the city. Heard from an expert on Wednesday night that there's other cities are busing. I'm not sure if you can do busing.
Oh yeah.
And when they're asked, where do you want to go? I want to go to the coast. They're sent to Jacksonville. So how does the city have to address that now?
Well, I mean, I think, when I left the police department, one of the things that we had been doing was identifying folks in the community and working with Onslow Outreach to get them what they needed. And part of that was getting them back home, because if you come to Jacksonville and you have no support system,
Mm-hmm.
then that becomes an issue. A lot of times, if you can get them back to their home,
Right.
then they have family there that can help navigate it. Now, whether that's it's more effective than them being here,
Right.
and so we've provided some of that to try to address their issues. If we can get them to their home, to their family, then a lot of times it can help. It's not the cure all, but folks come, to a community because, for a variety of reasons, and it's not good to ship somebody's a problem to
Sure.
you, but. And that's part of how do we address it? How do we focus on it? Because, when some of these assessments I do, I talk to folks about mental health issues, because I think mental health issues are the basis for why police officers use force. And, if we truly want to reduce the use of force that police officers use, we've got to address the mental health challenges that we have in our community.
I've seen, you've seen, we've all seen at some point in time the use of force, probably among bad guys. She calls them evil. Lee likes to refer to them as evil, but sometimes they're just bad people. They're
Right.
doing bad, stupid things.
Bad,
They're
evil
not
people.
mental. They're not whatever. But those are people that I never had too many problems being able to reason with, because they knew what the end result was going to be if they didn't comply, right?
Right.
Mental people, when they got a mental challenge going on, or they are indeed evil, but if there's a really mentally challenged, those individuals are tough to reason with when you're a street cop.
That's true. And that's why we do the CIT training.
Wish we'd had that.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we have the mental health counselors to try to resolve those things without using force. I think those are things that have really been beneficial for us. And I'll go back to the sheriff's department and their commitment to providing mental health services in the jail.
Mm-hmm.
I think that helps as well, because at least we've identified these folks as having a mental issue, and at least when officers have contact with them, then they know about those mental health issues through a number of resources that they have. And if they go back to jail, there can be a continuum of care, so to speak, to try to get them into what they need.
Mm-hmm.
In about a month and 4 days, I think, early elections begin.
October
October 16th, I think, and then the municipal elections November 4th. So you got a lot of, I guess not a lot of time to get the message.
Yeah, first day of early voting is October 16th through the 17th, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. October 20th through the 24th, 8 to 5. October 25th, 8 to 3, which is a Saturday, October 27th, 31st of October,
these
and
are all
November
at one
1st.
place, right?
Yes, and they're all at the Board of
Right.
Elections.
Yes.
Just one place open for early voting,
Mhm.
unless things change, but that's where it stands right now. So
So,
we'll remind everybody, and I've already put the information on here.
so Mike running for an elected office, and being out there talking to people already, as I know you have. What are the citizens? What are they telling you? This is what we see as the biggest issue, and to be able to sway them to go, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best to try to help with the other council members to fix this.
Well, I think, yeah, I think growing economically, looking at these empty buildings, how do we get folks, small businesses to locate in Jacksonville, and how do we encourage them?
Mhm.
You know, I mean, I remember my grandparents had a little store, a little country store, and they would, we would all work in that store. But the hard part was getting it started, and how do we use economic incentives, whether it's tax increment financing or some type of economics incentives to get folks to, for example, the Red Lobster building. How do we, if we wanted to put our brewery in there, how do we economically incentivize that? And I mean, I think there's, when I was in Ohio doing an assessment, they had a mall there that was virtually abandoned. It only had like one or two stores. And one of the things that they were doing was they were providing this tax increment financing in order to build an apartment complex in one of those buildings that was attached to this old mall. And their idea is that it could be something similar to Mayfair. You have people that live upstairs, and they're able to come downstairs and go straight to the mall and walk to the mall and engage in restaurants and shopping. And
Right. You do that, and I'm gonna sell my house and move
Could we have an elevator?
oh yeah,
Because I don't want to have to walk up and down those stairs all the time,
well, and
carrying stuff.
a lot of young people like that.
Sure.
When I was in Massachusetts, they put me in a hotel in one of those kinds of communities, similar to Mayfair, which is what the 400 acres is. Some of that concept, and they were selling those apartments for quite a bit of money.
Mhm.
And it was a nice area where you could come down from your apartment, and there were restaurants, there was shopping, there was a grocery store, everything you needed right there.
Yeah.
And of course then they had other things, like they had a little park, and they had music in the park, and so there was something to engage people and to create that sense of community. And
Right.
I think we can do that. I think we can do that downtown.
Mhm.
And I think we can do that with the 400 acres. And maybe we can even do it in some other places in the community to encourage that sense of community.
I know the city's hands are tied with the New River Apartments, the lawsuits, everything else that's going on, the changing of ownership constantly. But I would love to see that whole area redeveloped. And it would be good to put something like what you're talking about right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It'd be a great place for it.
Yeah.
Well, you think about it. You've got the Ospreys, right? They've
Right.
taken the old Jack Amyette Center,
You've got
and
the Beirut Memorial right, so to say, across the street. You've got downtown Jacksonville
Mhm.
right there.
Yeah.
It would be a great place, and revitalize
Opportunities.
that shopping center, which
Well,
is doing pretty well.
Yeah.
when I was in Greenville, it's been 20, 25 years ago. They were at that time building their stadium for their team.
Wood Ducks, was it
Yeah.
the Down East Wood Ducks?
And they
Yes.
developed an apartment complex that overlooked the stadium, and so those apartments were were selling like hotcakes, and you could sit on your balcony and watch them
Yeah.
practice or watch them play ball.
Kind of like living on a golf course, huh?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about
Yeah, a lot of
It
people
is.
do.
It is.
Prime property.
And that was part of their redevelopment. Now I haven't been back to Greenville in 20 years, but as from the police department standpoint and talking to the officers about how that development impacted the challenges that they had downtown. I mean, it was helping with it. It was helping them reduce the need for law enforcement in that particular neighborhood.
Psychologists, many studies have been put out, and one that I'm looking at a little bit here, school shooters. One of the biggest red flags, they say, for future attackers that they're running into is an unhealthy obsession with those who have done it before. They study Columbine, they study others, they get all worked up, according to psychologists. 13-year-old kid, Washington State, you probably read about it last week, got arrested. They found 23 guns in the home. Don't know how many of them belonged to him, probably none, maybe. Don't know how, but they raided it at 1 o'clock in the morning after they started getting more and more information that he was leaning in that direction. And when one of the disturbing things that they found, magazines loaded with writings on them promoting school violence, school shootings.
It's crazy.
What in the world are we doing? How do we get here? And what do we do to get away from here?
My experience with one place has been tremendous for me. I think not just for the Child Advocacy Center, because I really believe that's in our law enforcement realm, that's probably the best way we treat victims. But early childhood, the first 2,000 days of a child's life are the most important, and that's when they develop their character.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what studies have found is that if you have a loving relationship with your family and you have your role models at that time, that's when your character forms.
Daddyless homes are not good homes.
Right. And so when you talk about, how do we stop that? Once their character is formed, once those 2,000 days are up, it becomes extremely difficult for us to right the ship. And so investing in early childhood and investing in kids, and I mean, that's Boys and Girls Club, that's the Y, that's the city's programs. Those are all things that benefit us when we talk about, how do we prevent those things from happening? Mm-hmm. It's invested in our kids. I mean, I often say, if you want to put me out of a job, Reverend Churchwell is a good friend, and
Go for it. Yes.
And that's what he would say he said, I'm going to put you out of a job.
No complaints.
Yeah. And that's the most important thing we should focus on is those first 2,000 days of a child's life.
I just had another thought too, because I always come up with ideas like some of our callers always tell me I have something to offer. How about a pre-jail for kids? Something that shows no record. Something that they could go through, kind of like the police academy type thing, the citizens academy. The sheriff's doing the same thing. How about if we could put some kids who have been disrupted, been problem children, put them in a facility, they get not the same treatment, but they get similar treatment for a week.
Well, we have something like that right here in our community.
And that's called?
It's in Hampstead where they put them in a camp, and they learn how to cook, they learn how to build, they learn how to, which is something to help build that character. And the problem with, in my opinion, the problem with the school shootings and the school shooters is that their character is flawed. And what we have to do is we have to get them before that, before they're before their character is flawed, and teach them how to be responsible children and then responsible adults.
Not to mean that we don't take care of those who are already flawed before they do something really bad.
That's
So
right.
that's where law enforcement comes in and sources come in.
That's right.
That's where y'all, the people, come in. We, the people.
And speaking of we the people, so October 16th, I think, Jacksonville Country Club, you're going to be
It's a candidate meet and greet.
candidate
right?
meet and greet,
Yeah.
and so citizens will have a chance to come out there and talk to you. Is the city considering, as you've gone to some of the past meetings, ETJ, any chances of expanding this?
I think right now the way the state law is written, it's challenging for annexation.
Mhm.
You know, and annexation is important because somebody that lives on our fringes is coming in using the services, and ideally, you want to be able to provide quality services, and in order to do that, everyone needs to pay their fair share.
Sure.
But the way that the annexation laws are written right now, it's very difficult to annex people.
Got another caller coming.
Yeah, well, going back to,
Another caller.
it's hard for me to see it from over here. Going back to the meet and greet that the Onset
Yeah.
County GOP is putting on at the Country Club on October 16th. I also wanted to mention National Night Out. Mike will have
Yeah.
a booth there,
Okay.
a tent there, so you can stop by, and there'll be some T-shirts and buttons and other stuff to be given away while supplies last.
Yeah.
But come out and meet Mike.
And the National Night Out is going to be at the Jacksonville Commons.
Yes.
So we want to make sure people know that.
Yep, that'll be a big deal this year.
Yes.
And we have a caller. Good morning. You're live and local. You have a question for Mike Yanero?
Well, I just wanted to tell that East Tennessean good morning.
Hey, cuz. Morning, Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer.
Good morning. I told Terry, I said, I said, he was from Bristol. I'm up here in Kingsport. I said, I'm just going to call and say, well, good morning from an ex to a.
The reason he left from there is because he had tired of walking on the side of a hill, a mountain up there, and his
That's
one
right.
leg was shorter than the other.
Oh, come
That's the
on now.
reason that he left and came down here to the flatland.
Well, I left up here and went to the flatlands
Uh-huh.
for love. And tomorrow,
For love?
yeah, so y'all can say a little prayer for Terry because tomorrow will be 38 years that he has put up with this hillbilly.
Congratulations.
So then I drug him back up here.
Uh-huh.
Happy anniversary, baby.
Thank you. We did part of it over there, and we're going to finish it out up here. So I just wanted to call and say good morning.
All right.
And
Well, yeah, Kingsport. I actually worked for the Kingsport Police Department for a couple months.
A couple of months.
Well,
I feel like there's a story there.
Yeah.
well,
Your choice or theirs?
well, you want to get back to your hometown, so
I got
Okay.
you.
so you work a little while with the Kingsport Police Department, and then you go back to Bristol. So
I did that too.
Right.
I did 6 months one
It's,
time like
it's,
that.
it's a little bit of a drive. It's in midnight shift driving back from Kingsport to Bristol. It was rough. So
Hey,
yeah,
Jennifer, I do wish you a happy anniversary, but
Well, thank you.
but I am sorry about what's going to happen tomorrow to the volunteers.
No.
Okay.
You did it now.
Oh my
No,
gosh.
Smokey's got that blooming bulldog already run up a tree.
Okay.
Don't get me started on that.
Okay.
And my local boys are going to be in the Atomic City tonight. They're playing Oak Ridge. So my local boys is going to be down there at Oak Ridge, and I'm waiting for
Are their
them.
uniforms green as their skin?
Oh, I don't know. Our local boys aren't. They're
Okay.
maroon and gray. I don't know what Oak Ridge is, other than I hope a loser at the end of the game.
Uh-huh.
Good luck tonight.
And then I've got Tennessee. I'm going to give them. I want to give them by 6.
You might want to give them some. You might want to give them some blessings tonight. Pray for them.
It'll be a good game. Enjoy the
I
game.
hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Right.
Y'all have a great day.
Have a good
blessed
weekend. Happy anniversary.
Thanks.
Oh my!
Short time in there, huh?
You just had to stir it up, didn't you?
I did that intentionally.
I sang happy anniversary to her.
Yeah.
I told her good luck tonight,
Stir it.
but you know,
Mike, what are people you're talking with telling you about? What do they want? What do the people want? Because the whole thing boils down to what you're going to be serving the people. So what do the people want you to do?
That's true. That's true. I mean, we have to listen to what folks' concerns are. And I've heard a lot about taxes. I've heard a
What
lot
you
about
That's always number one.
well, and I've heard a lot
Yes.
about building permits and how to navigate that system. So there's things that I think we can do to improve that system. You
That's
know,
a good one.
I had an
Mhm.
HVAC guy tell me about the difference between the city and outside the city with some types of permitting that they have to go through. And he said, sometimes it's just like pulling eye teeth.
yeah, and I mean, whether we have like a dashboard on there to show that, to be a little bit more transparent about the process,
Mhm.
so that that folks can develop their business, and what kind of incentives that we're going to provide them, and how much, from a regulatory standpoint. And that was the bulk of my career, was law enforcement.
Mhm.
And and I always treated that as a partnership between the community and the police department. And I think that's the way we need to look at everything else that we do. It's a partnership, and a partnership means it's two ways, and we have to listen, number one, and we have to look for what the end result is, and if there are obstacles in a person opening a small business, again, 60% of our gross national product is small businesses, and if we're going to encourage them, then we got to focus on the ultimate goal, and that's to get the business open. And so what can we do, whether it's economic incentives, whether it's looking at that our current codes and how we can improve those. And we're looking at the process to make sure it is being transparent on our the website, and show a dashboard is here's how many and here's how long it takes. So somebody that's looking to open a business knows that it's going to take 20 days to get a permit, a process through. And so that we can, make sure that we're not the obstacle, make sure that whatever obstacles that they face, that we're not it, and that we're partnering with them to be successful. And I think if we start to look at it more that way, then I think we can encourage businesses. And I think with the 400 acres, I think there's some real opportunity there, and there's some real opportunity in a lot of these vacant buildings in the city, trying to get them, like the Convergys building that's on Western Boulevard, the Sears building, all those buildings, getting people in there, because that's the way we're going to be prosperous. Taxing people is not the way to be prosperous.
Well, I'm going to have to give some kudos to the water department here in the city,
Same.
because I got a call. Well, I didn't get a call because I stupidly, once I got rid of a landline, did not go down to City Hall and give them my cell number. So I got a visit from the water department last month, and they came and said, they parked out front. I said, what's going on? He said, you got anything water running in your house? I said, nope. He said, yeah, you do. Somewhere. He said, your meter is going round and round and round and round real fast. And it's been going around for quite a while. Then I get a water bill, $329.
Oh
And I
my
said,
gosh.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Mine was
Okay.
only 186.
You chump change. But anyway, I called the plumber because he and I looked all over this place. Every spigot, no water standing, no puddles, no seeping out, nothing visible. I walked to all 3 bathrooms. I checked everything because those things do have problems from time to time. Nothing. But he showed me on the meter down there where it was going round and round. And I called my plumber. He came out the next morning and they found it underneath the house.
Mm.
A pump of pressure, high pressure, whatever it was, had a hole in it. And it had been doing it for some time and getting bigger. I had a lake down there. No way of knowing. I would have never known it.
We have a phone call from Laura.
But they got they came back and they verified after I got it fixed, and they called me yesterday. It's now less than half of that, and because they went over 2 months to the 2 highest months and took off all the sewer, because as it turns out, you don't measure sewer.
Right.
All the water that's generated, none of it, half of it goes to sewer. Is the way they
Take it
figure
off
it.
mine, but
So anyway, they took it off. So
Anyway.
they thank you for doing that, for being
Yes.
proactive. Is the biggest thing.
and I do
They
give
didn't wait for me
kudos
to have a problem.
to the city of Jacksonville
Mhm.
for the utilities department.
Yeah.
I mean, they do a
Very good
fantastic
people.
job. They
So-
called me,
Well,
and I had already
They're
discovered
able
the
now to be
issue.
able to call me because I went
Yes.
down there with a telephone and showed them.
Yes, but
Go by
no,
City Hall, folks. If you have not listed your telephone number, if something happens
they can call you.
with your water or with anything else, they can call you. They can send you alerts.
That's right, because they don't go out
Duh.
and read
You go
meters
online
anymore.
and give them your number and
Not if
stuff.
you're like
Yes.
me, you can't go online and do it.
Don't
Because I have to
ask him
fight
to do
computers
that.
too much for that. Okay, we do have a final caller. Good morning. Who's this?
It's Laura.
Laura.
Good morning. It's Laura Dacola.
Hello, Laura. What's up?
How are you?
I'm fine.
How are you?
How are you?
Good.
How
I'm
you
good.
doing?
I'm good. Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right.
Don't do
Good.
that.
Good. So I'm calling in because I wanted to let everyone know that on Monday, the 15th, the Onslow County GOP will be hosting a memorial service in honor of Irina Zarutska and Charlie Kirk. And that is going to be at 200 Valencia Drive in Jacksonville at 7 p.m.
I'm not sure where Valencia Drive is.
That's near
Huff
off
Drive.
Huff Drive. Off
Yeah,
Huff
that's
Drive.
right.
Across from the
Drive.
post office.
Got it.
Yeah.
Lee would know it's near the post office, but okay, I know where it is now.
Devil's Den.
Yeah. So we'll be in the parking lot there,
Okay.
and it's going to be a candlelight memorial service.
All right. Very good. Well,
Thank you,
good.
Laura.
Thank you guys
Thank
for
you,
doing
Laura.
that.
It's where Joe
Yeah,
works.
absolutely.
Thank you. Laura.
Have a great day.
Have a
You
blessed
too.
day.
We didn't talk a whole lot about the political aspects of this murder from a couple of days ago, but I'm not labeling it as a political homicide, a political assassination, political anything. Is it fair to even do that?
Not until we find out what
Mhm.
the
Apparently, they got somebody in custody. More coming. So y'all stay tuned for that today. We'll post it when we get it.
It would be nice if people didn't blame people until they found out what the facts are.
Yeah,
Amen.
Amen.
For all of those folks out there who are on the right-leaning side, the ultra-conservatives, the conservatives, the moderates, the whatever, who said, well, it's their fault. The liberal side, it's what happens when you open your stupid mouth and start blaming the other side, and you find out that it's a guy who is a registered conservative, right-wing Republican who has done
What
this
about
dirty
that?
deed. And what you going to do with your
Yep.
foot in your mouth then?
Mhm.
I hope it tastes good.
Let LEO do their job.
It's got
Yes.
nothing to do with politics until they prove otherwise.
All we know for right now for sure is that it is a disturbed, evil individual that has some issues. That's all we know.
Looking at his escape route and his jumping off,
Not very smart.
that's risking a whole lot, taking a story and a half jump from a building to make your
Yes.
getaway. So it's a little bit of, I would have thought more pre-planning for something like this would have been in order, but apparently
Well,
Running
not.
across a
Right.
full parking lot. I mean,
Let me see that. So I've always known you as Mike, but I see, I'm not sure. Candidate Michael,
yes, we
Thank
had
you
to
for
make them
coming.
look
Thank you for coming in.
professional.
Thank you for
I've
coming.
known him as chief.
Well, I've known him as a few things, and they're all good.
Oh, well, I've known him as chief, but as
Yes, we
now
fellow-
that he's not the chief,
fellow
he'll
parishioners,
always be
as a
chief. But
matter of
he's-
fact.
I
Yes.
guess I get to call him Mike now.
He'll be back again.
Yeah.
We're going to have him back on again before
Enjoyed
election day, and
I
hear a
think-
little bit more about what he likes, what he really is
Yeah.
focusing
Yeah.
on for the community.
And if there are other candidates out there running for city council or candidates in
They've been invited.
other areas in
Mhm.
the county that are running for election or re-election or whatever, please, y'all, all you got to do is reach out.
Yeah,
Lee's- you can find Lee anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I've reached out and they're very interested. They were kind of waiting till a little bit closer to election
It
day.
is close, y'all. This is September. You got 2 months and you're done.
Look,
Wait until the last minute and you're overdone.
they'll be here.
Okay. Michael, thank you. We appreciate your time as always, sir.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Yes,
thanks for
always.
Thanks for your ongoing, never-ending service for the
Yes.
citizens of not just Jacksonville, but all of Onslow County.
And mainly what you do for the kids too. I mean,
Yes.
that's what
Yeah,
we
get them
need.
early.
It's good. Thank you.
Get them before they screw up. Easier to fix. All right. Well, we'll see you on Monday morning, maybe. And
Go Cards.
We
Go
have a,
Cards. We'll see. Hey, if you're at the ball game tonight, the Jacksonville High game is going to be at
Look for
Cardinal
us.
Stadium. Come on down.
Try to go.
Look for us. We'll be wearing things like we got on right now, red shirts. Be up in for one of the first bleachers up near the top because that's
On the
where I
right. Don't be no. Well, we're gonna quit pin station
why
because people are crazy.
not Cardinal people.
And what was it? I was just gonna
There's
say.
no crazy people amongst the
Oh,
Cards.
and Monday we have a special person coming on the show
We got a
that's Dancing with the Stars Onslow,
uh-huh.
and it's the new police chief.
Oh, is his date Monday?
He-
Oh, I'm going to save up for
I
that
really
one.
think you need to come back Monday.
I'm not giving any advice about dancing. That was
sit
tough.
you right next to Disney.
That was one of the toughest things I ever did. Was
That was the last time I will do something like that.
Oh, that-
for today.
there was a lot more work than I expected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof, what a great
5,
flunk I had.
6, 7, 8. Mike's like, what? That's all right.
Well,
That's
Deborah
all
had to
right.
pull me along, but she did a good job of doing it. But she,
Well, mine just looked cute and she danced around me while I just
Did you have Deborah Bell as a coach?
yeah,
Goodness gracious.
Great balls of fire.
That's great.
That was
she had to pull me along.
that was tougher than any training officer that you ever had. Was
Oh
it?
yeah, yeah. And I went to SWAT school, and that was nothing compared to that. And so Chief Phelps is, he was a SWAT officer, but I'm sure he's gonna learn that it's not as easy as SWAT school.
Well, maybe I'll get a
love
first aid kit
Love
and
it,
take
love
it for blisters and other things.
Right.
All right, well, good. But again, it's for a great cause, and you stepped up to the plate for
Yes,
the
you
same
did.
reason you did of everything else. You continue to do it. Thank you,
You
sir.
did. Thank you,
Michael,
Mike.
we'll see you soon.
All right.
We see you guys on Monday. I will keep you up to speed on whoever's been arrested and how good the evidence is and yada, yada, yada. And I want you to keep in mind one thing, anything that we post is going to be from them. It's not going to be from social media.
That's
I don't do for social media rebroadcasts or reprints. And I also, you can rest assured that we will not know, nor should we know, everything that the law guys have. Not yet. One step at a time. You're live at Local Real Talk. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Bye.